Alright guys, what's going on? Wanted to make a quick video on... We can get it. We got it. We got it! Disturbed's new album. It's been a 5-year hiatus since the last album, Asylum. And then in 2011 they put out an album, Lost Children, which was all their underground songs. But being a big Disturbed fan for a while, I had the majority of the songs already. But, so yeah, their last real album was, Asylum, 2010. And in my honest opinion, they ended with a bang. That was my favorite album by them. Disturbed has always been criticized for sounding the same and, whatever. But, I've always dug their sound. And Asylum to me was just I'm glad they're back, but that album was great. But it's not about that album. It's about, Immortalized. And, I got the deluxe edition, so I have the 3 extra songs. I'll talk about those. I'll try to make this a quicker review than my last video. I'm not going to talk about every single song, just the ones that stand out, and just my overall impression of it. So I'll start off with the songs, and I'll start off with probably the most controversial song on the album, which is, Turn It Up. For anyone who follows Disturbed and is signed to the email list or subscribed to the YouTube channel or just fans of them, you know about the song. That was one of the songs that's just here, we're going to release this lyric album for it. Watch it on YouTube. Write your comments below. So people did. And my favorite comment that I've read about it on the internet is, don't worry, this is just Disturbed's obligatory party song. Or it's because a lot of rock bands, actually, no, let me phrase that. A lot of music artists in general, if they stick to gangster rappers, have to have that obligatory romance song, and hard rockers have to have that obligatory either ballad or party song. Disturbed, honestly, to be perfectly honest, that's one of the reasons I like Disturbed. They've kind of always done their own thing the way they wanted to do it, and so they don't usually do that. So this is kind of why this song has been catching people off guard, and also a lot of people, it's just his lyrics are just not, it's just the song just doesn't feel like a Disturbed song. Although, anyone who hates the song and is with me is just it's just, would agree that the actual, not the lyrics, but the melody and the rhythm and the guitars, the drums, all of that sounds good. The musical instruments themselves sound good and create a good rhythmic song, especially a good hard rock song. It's just what this song is about. It's just not a lot of people can get behind. And sadly, I'm one of them. And I'll just say right off the bat, I'm straight edge. I don't smoke weed, drink alcohol. I don't care to do that shit. It's not a lifestyle I enjoy nor ever want to. So, especially for me, I can't relate to that. And it's just as much as I admire the music in the song, I just don't admire the lyrics at all. And I just kind of have to pass that song up. To be perfectly honest, out of all this album, that's my least favorite song. Kudos to David Drummond for being an advocate for marijuana, and everyone has the rights, and I think that's stupid if people should go to jail for that. But at the same time, I don't want to listen to songs about that. So even though I bought the album, I choose not to listen to that song. But that's really, it. And that's the worst song, in my opinion. Now, with that being said, the rest of the album isn't horrible. It's not, in my opinion, as great as Asylum. I think they kind of came back. The way I was trying to think about what I should talk about in this album, and in my opinion, it's they didn't come back with a whimper. They came back with hey, we're back. And it feels like a start of something new. Because I felt if they were to end on Asylum, that would have been good. As much as we would miss them and touring and their music and what could have happened if they continued to make music. I feel like Asylum was a great album to end on. And if they're coming back with Immortalized, then I think this is just the start of getting our hopes up. It's just this is the start of, well, this album's pretty good. It's not as great as Asylum, but this makes me look forward to seeing what they can produce in the future. And so I feel this is just the first of something, this is the first good thing of something great to come. If that makes any sense. I feel this kind of gets us in the mood. It gets us back in the Disturbed mood, but it's not the best thing they put out. Right off the bat, I mean, it's 13 tracks if you're buying the regular album, 16 if it's the deluxe. The very first song, The Eye of the Storm, is just a regular 1 minute and 20 second, just like guitar riff, and it goes right into probably my favorite song, or at least my second favorite, which is Immortalized, which is the first like real song on the album, and it's a good song. And for the most part, this album does what people criticize Disturbed for. I've always, and this is probably why a lot of people love Disturbed, and a lot of people look at it who don't really know them and be like, oh my god, this is all the same. But people who follow Disturbed will know that their music is all about, like, defying hard times, being, like, expressing your own individuality, not giving a shit, and just, like, David Drummond clearly has been through a lot of hard times, and so he's able to write that and sing it really well. And it's just, people who have lived lives like that, if I've gone through situations like that, we relate, and it's just like that creates the connection. So, I mean, that's another reason why Fire It Up wasn't the most, popular song. But anyway, enough about that song. But, and there is a lot of that. Immortalized is that. What You're Waiting For is definitely that. One review online I read said that's like, this is the stereotypical Disturbed song. And I guessed, but, now the Vengeful One is the song they made a music video for, and to be perfectly honest, when I heard it, I was like, that's okay. And there's a lot of songs where I'm like, this is okay. This is not bad. There's nothing, like, the only song I didn't put on my MP3 player was Fire It Up. And I did put the Vengeful One, but it took a few listens to really appreciate it, and I really appreciate the breakdown at the end of the song, when the drums kick in, and it's like really headbanging. It's like that part's gonna be fucking awesome in their lives. But honestly, it reminded me when I first heard it of Judas Priest. Just the way it starts off with the drums and then the guitar. It's just, and then it just, in the music video, it's the guy who is their mascot riding a motorcycle to it, and it just felt right. Like that's a song you would ride a motorcycle with a leather jacket on. If it makes any sense, if you listen to the song, you'll probably get what I mean. It's just a kind of a stereotypical old, like, rock, metal song. Now, they did do some things differently, and I really want to talk about this, because this is where this album shines. Now, a lot of people say Disturbed sounds alike, and blah, 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 blah. So one thing Disturbed, it's not really known for, but their fans know, and it's not really talked about, is they don't really do slow songs. They've always kept it hard. They've always kept it melodic. There's some hard rock songs that sound slower, that are more singing rather than him like screaming or whatever. And he doesn't really scream. He never growls or screams. Sometimes he'll get like really high in his voice, but he won't. It's hard to describe David Drummond's screaming because he kind of yells. I'll go with that. He yells sometimes. He doesn't really scream or growl or do pig noises or anything like that. A lot of people say like sings. He has a very great singing voice, and that comes to light. There's a song called You're Mine. This song is different from the rest of the album. If anyone followed David Drummond or Disturbed, in the hiatus, David Drummond made a band called Device. I personally was not impressed with that album. I thought the first half of it, like the first 3 or 4 songs, was like, this is awesome, and then the rest of the album turned into like, not what I expected at all. But Your Mind kind of reminds me of that electronic vibe that he was hoping, like, that he was coming across off on Device. And it also reminds me of a band called Dead by Sunrise. For anyone who doesn't know what that is, that was Chester Bennington's, like, second band. I forgot when he made that. I think it was right after Minutes of Midnight. Chester Bennington of Linkin Park. He kind of made a band, and I love that band, honestly. I love that album they made. But, and it reminds me of that. It's kind of a more melodic, electronical song. And the song that's gonna get everybody talking, if you don't already know, is the cover. Disturbed's also known for covering, songs. I think almost every album they've covered a song. And like I said, they don't really do acoustic stuff. Literally, this is their 6th album, and they've only done one acoustic song. One. and that was the very last song of their album Believe. And so this one, their acoustic song in this is The Sound of Silence, which was originally done by Simon and Garfunkel. Sounds weird, I know. If you haven't already heard this song, though, you need to hear it, because this is the song that's going to get a lot of people talking. And as much as you go into a Disturbed album expecting something, you have to appreciate what this song is, because it is a very... First of all, the lyrics, it's odd. It's odd that the lyrics of a Simon and Garfunkel song would fit with the expectation of a Disturbed song. The lyrics fit. I mean, and David Drummond's voice just knocks it out of the park. I let my girlfriend listen to it, who's a big Simon and Garfunkel fan and Paul Simon fan. And after she listened to it, she was like, well, at first I wasn't sure because his voice was a little too deep for it. And it is. He starts off really deep. And it's just him and the acoustic guitar. And then it's like the symphony comes in at the end. And then he really gets to singing. And that's really, and then she even said, it's like that part, it's like, that was beautiful. And it's like I never really paid attention to his voice until this song. And it's like, for anyone out there who wants to convince somebody, for anyone out there who isn't into hard rock that you know, that you want to be like, hey, listen to this album. And if they're into that more older music, more mellow music, let them listen to that song and be like, wow, this band's actually pretty talented. David Drummond is. And real quick, I feel like, I want to get into some weird things about this album and about the band themselves. That's not the last song on the album. They decided to put that to be the 11th out of the 13th track. I don't know why. I feel, because the 13th track isn't a hard hitter. It's not an acoustic song. It's just kind of like a mellow, somewhat hard-hitting song. It's just a sustainable, like, it sustains the same sound throughout the whole song. And it's not too hard and it's not too soft. It's kind of in the between. And it's weird to end on that. Especially if you don't have the deluxe edition and you don't have 3 more songs waiting for you. So I feel they should have switched that. Made the 13th song, who is what's called Who Taught You How to Hate, and switched that with The Sound of Silence. I feel like they should have ended on The Sound of Silence. So that's one weird thing. The other thing is, and this isn't weird, but I said I was going to talk about the 3 bonus tracks. If it's worth it. They're 3 good songs. They're all kind of like the same thing, where they're kind of sustainable, that's semi-hard, but not too hard. I will say probably the best one is the last one, which is called The Brave and the Bold. It's the best one because, don't get me wrong, I want to talk about the band and how they are as a whole in a little bit, and I'm going way too long and I apologize. But it's the one time where Dan Donegan doesn't just do simple riffs and a guitar solo. It's, I appreciate like a good rhythm guitar, and I appreciate like a good, breakdown, and it's like I feel is needed. But sometimes Dan Donegan just kind of like lays back, just creates simple riffs in the background, and then the guitar solo comes and he shreds it hardcore, and then it goes into the chorus and the song. This song, The Brave and the Bold, start off with a different guitar track. Like, it's the way he plays the guitar to start off the song, it just gets you in the mood. It's like, this is gonna be a kick-ass song. And it is. It's not too bad. It's pretty good. But it's just, and that leads me to the last thing I want to talk about before I give my score on the album. Disturbed as a whole, and as a bassist, I want to talk about this. But there's no denying David Drummond singing. Dan Donegan is an amazing guitarist. I feel he plays a little too simple sometimes. He's a great guitarist, but he just plays riffs, chorus, guitar, solo, and that's it. And then Mike Wingreen, the drummer, great. Is a great drummer. His drums are always like a good pounding pulse in the background, and there's a lot of songs on here that is just like his drums really shine. And as I mentioned, since this is going on my bass channel, it's like, what the fuck is with Disturbed and their bass player? John Moyer, who I'm a big fan of, he's legitimately a great bass player. Like, I've tried to learn some Disturbed songs. I've tried to learn, I've seen the tab. I've seen, like, the way he plays, but even the bass player before them, and it's nothing on him. It's more like as the band's ideal for creating music. I have as a bass player, a bone to pick. Not once does the bass player ever just create the bass line. He doesn't there's not a single bass solo that I can think of on any Disturbed song ever. There's never been a bass solo. The bassist for Disturbed always creates just a bass line to follow through. And I know John Moyer mostly plays with pick. I think he sometimes plays with fingers, but I remember reading in an interview he said where he prefers to play with pick. He knows how to play all three styles, but he prefers to play with pick. And the thing is, as a bassist, it's just like, what the hell? Like, why does the bass never shine? Like, I understand if that's a personal choice for him and it's like, I'm just gonna keep creating bass lines for this. I'm gonna keep it simple and just have confidence going on the stage and just create, and I don't want to shine. Then I understand that. But it's just like, the bass is always in the background for Disturbed. It's never there. It's just, and as a bassist, it aggravates me. Especially listening to Japanese rock when bassists come out and just like do their own thing all the time. And it just feels like an American rock music. And it's no different for Disturbed. It's just like the bassist is always just, you just kind of stay over there and just, could you provide the rhythm? That'd be great. Thank you. And then it's just like the guitarist, the drummer, and the singer. And I'm just kind of sick of that. I wish Disturbed would do something new in terms of bass. And I wish it would just give me some slap and pop. Just create like a really good bass rhythm and start the song from that. And rarely, I think there's some songs where they do that. It starts off with bass, but very rare. There's never been an actual bass solo. The only song I think of that had slap and pop in it was Voices. That starts off with slap and pop. Other than that, it's just, I wish they would change that. I wish there would be more bass, just a unique bass line, more unique bass lines, and the Disturbed sound. But, hey, if they have their own idea of what they want their sound to be and they don't want to incorporate that, oh well. That's just a bassist giving an opinion. But at the same time, I respect that bands as human beings for what they are, because they are very humble guys. Like, I've watched their documentaries and they really care about their fans. They really have an idea of what their sound to be and they want it to be that way, and they didn't budge until they found the record company that found it. And the fact that they allowed a full streaming of their album before their album came out, like a week before, that's something, if any artist does, I respect them for doing that. And it's just like, thank you for actually considering the fans. They even posted on their Facebook, it's like, we understand that you guys want to try before you buy. So here's a full album on iTunes for you to stream. And, I did. I wasn't impressed, but I bought the album anyway. And it's just like some more good Disturbed songs I could put on my MP3 player. Nothing amazing that blew me away, but it's just like, I'm glad they're back. And I'm looking forward to the future. So with that being said, there's more I'd love to say, but I'm just gonna wrap it up because we're going on 18 minutes here. I would say that I would give this album out of 10. I would give it a 7 out of 10 because nothing about this album blew me away, but, it's not horrible either. They took some chances with The Sound of Silence and, it's the one In Your Mind, which is kind of a different Disturbed song, but I like them. And it's fired up as a different vocal range for them to take, and I think it backfired on them a little bit, but, of course all the weed smokers in their concerts are gonna go like, yeah! Whatever. I'll be there. Well, actually, no, I won't be there because they're not coming to Florida, because no concerts ever come to Florida anymore. So, yay! I hope they make great lives this year, and I wish the best on them. It's great to have them back. I think this album, again, it's good, not great, but it makes me look forward to the future, and I do believe they still have it. I think they just need to warm up a bit and just come to understanding about, like, what they really are and just fucking nail it home like they did with Asylum. So, 7 out of 10. If you watched it all the way to this point, thank you. If my opinion actually mattered and you felt some, oh, I could relate to that, then hopefully this helped. Good album. I'd say buy it. It's $14.99 at Best Buy. The deluxe version, $10 at Best Buy. Other than that, you can get it on iTunes, Amazon, blah, 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 blah. It'll be a real easy album to get. Alright. Thank you for watching, everybody.